spooky season is near. So we are starting early, and it's my favorite season, by the way. So this will be movie number 2 in our spooky season saga of 2025. Today's movie, Bride of Chucky. The movie starts off showing us a Jason mask and a Michael mask, and I'm figuring out that they're paying homage to both killers, and I have seen this movie countless times and I've never noticed this. A police officer has Chucky in a trash bag and he looks familiar. Is he the guy from Cheetah Girls? The cop is on the phone and he almost crashes his car because he's on the phone. Ain't that shit illegal? The cop want to know what's in the bag so bad that he almost burns himself with his cigarette. He goes messing and looks in the bag, and what do you know? It's Charles. While he was being nosy, Tiffany comes around the corner and slashes his throat like she's slashing the tire of an ex that cheated on her. Can we just sit here and admire Jennifer Tilly? She pulls Chucky out of the bag, and damn, he looked like he went through a meat grinder, a blender, I don't know, but he don't look good. We see that Tiffany has been collecting dolls and that she's low-key obsessed with Chucky. She got all these newspaper clippings of Chucky, like, girl, are you okay? Tiffany is playing Build-A-Doll and she's reconstructing Chucky. She got him walking around looking like a baseball with stitches and staples everywhere. We see some boy come to the door and, oh my gosh, is that John Ritter? I can never pronounce his name right, but I do know that he's a legend. So rest in peace to him. Turns out his niece is Katherine Heigl, aka the lady from Grey's Anatomy. Now, she's acting like she's about to go on a date with this guy, and he's fruitier than a fruit basket. I can tell already. She's trying to make it seem like she's going on a date with this guy when the real guy's gonna be in the back of the car. Her uncle's a whole cop, like, you're crazy for trying to pull this move on him. Well, what do you know? Her real boo pops up in the back seat looking like John Travolta from Friday Night Fever. They get pulled over, and I know it's because the uncle sent one of his goons to see what was really up, so the uncle definitely knew she was up to something. Now, Tiffany over here doing some voodoo shit trying to bring Chucky back, and the way I was brought up, I would be scared of doing this, because what if you brought back somebody 10 times worse than Chucky? Well, she thinks her little spell didn't work, and she's sitting here smacking the shit out of Chucky trying to wake him up. Girl, he coming, just wait. Some guy knocks on the door and I'm confused, like he has on a crop top and he looks like Marilyn Manson. The only reason why Tiffany wanted to date this man, whose name is Damien by the way, is because he claimed he was a murderer. When Tiffany turns around, she realizes that Chucky is gone, and she gets the bright idea to send Damien looking for Chucky. She makes Damien gets on his knees and bark like he wants it, and he's sitting there crawling to her, and I'm like, ooh, I kind of like this. He's looking underneath the table for Chucky, and a tarantula falls on his face, and he's sitting there looking like he wants to scream, oh my god, get it off me. I'm sorry, but he's trying to get some booty tonight, and he just looks like one of the girls. They look like they're about to participate in arts and crafts, if you get my drift. Chucky pops up and Damien wants to play with him, and I'm like, if you only knew how many bodies Chucky really has, you would be putting him down and running for your life. Turns out Damien feels like he's got the biggest balls of them all and is talking so much shit about Chucky, even throws him to the ground like a piece of trash. Tiffany looks at Damien and she's like, do you want to play a game? Damien's like, hell yeah, I want to play a game. I've been wanting to play a game this whole time. Tiffany puts Chucky on top of Damien and is doing a little dancey dance for him. That's when Tiffany tells Damien that her and Chucky were together, and Chucky did not play about her. He was the best lover she ever had. Damien still talking shit with Chucky on his lap, and Chucky's head turns around like the Exorcist, and this is how I know shit got real. Chucky rips out Damien's piercings and smothers him like a feast at grandma's house. Tiffany ends up telling Chucky, it took me 10 years to find you. Damien finally dies, and that's when Tiffany picks Chucky up like a toddler and puts him on her hip. We're back to Jade, and her uncle has pulled up on her, Jesse, and her friend David, and they've been standing in the rain waiting on him to come. Turns out her uncle can't stand Jesse and feels like Jade could find somebody way better, or nobody at all. Hell, I don't know. He's giving the vibes of a controlling uncle. The uncle ends up telling Jesse that he's the chief of police and he can do whatever he wants. And he could even set him up and send him to prison in the snap of a finger. Tiffany ends up cooking Chucky some Swedish meatballs after this, and she pulls out a crib with baby toys in it, and he's like, "What the hell is this?" And she's like, "It's your bed." Tiffany finds out the only reason Chucky had given her a ring was because he got it off a body that he killed, and it was worth over $6,000. Chucky is dying laughing because he looks at Tiffany and he's like, "You really thought I was finna marry you?" That's when Tiffany realizes that she did all of this for a man who was never gonna change. Chucky wants her to put him in a man's body, and Tiffany's like, "No, I like you the way you are. You're so cute." And she starts tickling him like a little baby, and I'm like, at this point, she playing with this man. Tiffany ends up locking Chucky up and blows smoke in his face. He starts coughing because he's got them baby lungs. She goes and ends up laying beside Damien's body, and I get it, it's your bed, but you can't roll him like to the side or something. Get him up out of here. Girl, he about to start stinking soon. The next morning, Tiffany puts Damien in a box and asks Jesse to help her load him in the trunk. He's struggling to pick it up, and I'm like, yeah, that's because there's a body in there. Tiffany asks Jesse if they can go on a date, and he's like, no, I got a girlfriend, and Tiffany tells him that he better treat her right. Tiffany out here spitting game, and everything that she says her mother says is low-key stuff that us women need to hear, because sometimes the Barbie in hell. Tiffany buys a doll for Chucky, and she's like, "This is your wife." Even throws a handful of rice at him, and Chucky tells her that she's dead. And best believe when Chucky says somebody gonna die, they gonna die. Now, this bath that Tiffany is taking is like an iconic bath. This is one of the baths that I always want to take, but it never is giving that. As she's taking a bath, Chucky is using the ring that he gave her to cut the wood so he can break out and kill Tiffany. It's so funny that Tiffany is watching The Bride of Frankenstein because she finna be the bride of Chucky. Chucky comes in with a knife and tries to stab Tiffany, but she ends up punting him like a football. And that's when the TV drops in the tub and ends up frying Tiffany like some Popeye's chicken. Chucky says the same spell over Tiffany and the doll, and that's when Tiffany does not go to the afterlife. She ends up being inserted into 2 feet of plastic. Chucky's like, "You're mine now." And Tiffany's like, "I wouldn't be with you if you had a body of a G.I. Joe." And that's when Chucky tells her, "Look in the mirror. You don't have time to be picky, boo." Chucky tells Tiffany that they have to find themselves some new bodies, and he needs to get the amulet that he was wearing when he was killed. They have to drive all the way to New Jersey. That's when Tiffany's like, "Okay, that sounds good to me." And it's easier said than done when you're not 2 feet of plastic. Tiffany calls Jesse and basically says that if he takes her and Chucky to New Jersey, she'll give him $500. And Jesse's like, "Well, I want $1,000. Tiffany's like, "Okay, cool. I'll give you half now and the other half later." That's when Tiffany gives herself a makeover and she turns into a badass. Chucky tells Tiffany to act natural when Jesse comes in there, and I'm like, how is she supposed to act natural? I mean, look at the pose Tiffany chose. She's not a doll. She just got turned into a doll 30 minutes ago. Ain't shit natural about it. Jade and David are sitting outside talking, and that's when Jesse pulls up and tells Jade that he has enough money for them to run away together and they can finally be together and be in love. This shit sounds so good coming out of his mouth. Then 3 months down the road, you gotta come back home because you found out that he ain't shit, he don't clean up, and he leaves hair in the sink. Maybe I'm projecting a little. I'm sorry. The uncle is trying to plant weed in Jesse's truck, and I'm like, you know what? Chucky and Tiffany need to have their way with you because you just don't know when to stop. When Chucky and Tiffany realize that the uncle is trying to get in the car, Chucky grabs his knife and he's like, you know what? I need the exercise. And that's when Tiffany tells him it's not the 80s or 90s. You look like Martha Stewart with that knife. Get creative. Chucky's been dead for 10 years and he's like, who's Martha? And I'm like, Martha went to prison. She's a thug. Uncle breaks into the car and he ends up looking like Hellraiser because he got tore up. Tiffany basically helped this man kill better than he has ever killed, and he wants to take all the credit. Like, give her her props. They ended up getting pulled over by the same guy that pulled them over when they were about to go to prom, homecoming, one of those things. Now, that same weed that the uncle put in the car trying to set up Jesse, Chucky happens to be in the back smoking and he is getting lit. Hashtag 420. Now, I don't know what they were smoking. It couldn't have been gas. That's fire. Because there was no way when the officer opened the door that he didn't smell what they was smoking. He's messing with the seat underneath Chucky and Tiffany, and they know that's where Uncle Warren is, so they have to improvise. Chucky ends up throwing the weed to get the attention off of them, but he only did that so the officer couldn't see Uncle Warren's body underneath them. They have to kill this officer. Like, y'all gotta get him out of here. So Chucky's gonna go set his gas tank on fire and have a little barbecue. The detective is on the phone, and when he sees that his car is about to blow up, he has time to at least get out, stop, drop, and roll. But he decides to use his last seconds to scream instead of attempting to flee. I don't know what kind of crime you think you're gonna stop, sir, but this type of thinking ain't gonna cut it. The whole night has turned into chaos. Tiffany's looking over here at Chucky like, at least you know how to show a girl a good time. They haven't even got to where they're going yet, and Jesse and Jade, which sounds like the motherfuckers from Pokemon, but they're already arguing. David calls Jesse and Jade and tells them that the cops think that they're on their Bonnie and Clyde shit, when really Bonnie and Clyde are sitting in the back 2 feet of plastic. David really has the nerve to tell them that they need to turn themselves in so the cops can figure it out, but I'm like, does he not know that the chief of police is rotting underneath Tiffany and Chucky? Jesse and Jade end up getting hitched, and I just want to say, Tiffany, you can do so much better, baby. Turns out Uncle Warren is not dead. He tries to crawl out from beneath Tiffany and Chucky. That's when Chucky really has to take matters into his own hands, and he goes back to his roots and starts poking the uncle up like a sack of potatoes. I kind of feel bad for Jesse and Jade because they really didn't even ask for this. They just wanted to be in love, and Tiffany and Chucky are being selfish as hell, trying to get into their bodies. Now, when they're in their suite, a couple barges in and is helping themselves to their shit. Like, she literally stole Jesse's wallet and Tiffany's ring. And when Tiffany sees that, she realized she gonna have to get in that field. When she picks up Tiffany, she's like, oh, she's so cute. Then she picks up Chucky and says he has a face only a mother could love. That's when Chucky says, hi, I'm Chucky, and I wouldn't talk if I was you. Heidi ho. Well, while the couple are in there making out in their room, the girl looks up to the mirror and sees that Tiffany's right there with a bottle, and she probably thinks that Tiffany's gonna chuck the bottle. Oh no, she's teaching Chucky how to be creative. She's gonna do way more than that. Tiffany ends up throwing the bottle up to the glass mirror, breaking it, and the glass that shatters ends up killing the couple and popping the waterbed. This makes Tiffany and Chucky all hot, and I really don't know what they're doing because dolls don't have parts. Jade calls David and says that she's scared and thinks that Jesse has killed all these people. And David ends up getting another call, and it happens to be Jesse calling him with the same shit. David is telling them both that they should go to the police. I'm like, whose friend are you for real? Where's your loyalty? Like, what's going on? Now, when the maid comes in the room to clean up after the couple that Tiffany has slaughtered, did you notice that this is the lady that plays Peggy Hill? And she's also the sister from Hocus Pocus? David pops up and ends up riding with them, and he's claiming that this might just all be a misunderstanding. And that's when he smells something a little funky in the car. It's Uncle Warren. He stink a little bit. David goes missing and ends up finding Uncle Warren underneath the seat. And that's when he steals Uncle Warren's blicky and ups it at Jesse and Jade. He tells them to pull over, and that's when I know for sure Chucky and Tiffany cannot sit back and let this happen. They gotta take some action. David is causing a scene, and that's whenever a state trooper begins to drive over to them. David, I don't know what the hell he's doing, but he must have forgot he's on the highway. He ends up getting turned into hamburger meat by an 18-wheeler, which is kind of good. But Tiffany and Chucky had already pulled their own blicky out because they were not gonna let David fuck up their ride. Chucky ends up making Jade open the door while Jesse is driving, and he starts shooting out at a cop that's following them, and let's just say he's not following them anymore. Before you know it, we're in New Jersey, the Garden State. Tiffany tells Jesse that they've already met before, and she calls him a name that she would have called him if she was human, Sweet Face. He was like, damn girl, how you getting this body? She was like, it's a long story. Tiffany ties up Jade, and she's in there baking cookies, and this don't seem that bad. After she cooks, Chucky's like, hey, them dishes ain't gonna wash themselves. Now remember earlier, Tiffany told Jesse that if a woman slaves over a stove all day, the least a man can do is the dishes. Now Jade does play into this and tells Tiffany that the least Chucky can do is the dishes. Tiffany is mad as hell. She even says that Chucky really ain't do nothing last night when they did the deed. Says the plastic ain't gonna cut it. It's not a good replacement for a nice chunk of wood. And I said, I know that's right. Now, Chucky get mad, get all up in his feelings talking about the food wasn't even that good, how you learn how to cook and where you learn how to cook. Oh, you just tore it up and you just said it was the best food you ever had. Don't get mad now, sir. Now, she ends up kicking Tiffany in the oven and Jesse ends up kicking Chucky through the window and they end up wrecking the RV. Tiffany is burning up in the oven and she looks like a burnt hamburger patty on the 4th of July. They're near the cemetery, so Chucky takes his blicky and tells Jade that if she wants to stay alive, you're gonna take me to my grave before I put a couple holes in you. That's when Jesse jacks up Tiffany by her hair and is chasing them, and the whole time Tiffany is yelling, ouch, 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 has me crying. She opens Chucky's grave and there's rats crawling through his eyeballs and shit. He tells her to give him the amulet. They have to trade Tiffany for Jade, and I really thought Chucky was gonna be like, fuck Tiffany, I don't give a shit. Even after all of this, when Tiffany asks Chucky to catch her, he lets her drop to the ground. Now, they end up tying Jesse and Jade up, and Chucky's doing his little spell, and I get the feeling that Tiffany's not really with the shits because she fucks with Jesse. After all this, Tiffany tells Chucky that she loves him, and all he can say is, I know. You can't even tell the girl you love her back. I mean, you killed her and turned her into a damn doll. The least you could do is say, I love you. Tiffany stabs Chucky, and like I said earlier, I had that feeling that she wasn't with this. I'm trying to figure out how Jesse is still alive because he did have a whole butcher knife thrown into his back. Tiffany and Chucky are fighting with shovels, and this shit is crazy. Jesse and Jade are watching this shit go down, and I'm like, y'all need to get up out of here before they decide to get back to body swapping. Jesse hits Chucky like a home run and he ends up falling in the coffin with his former body. Jade ends up taking the blicky from the police officer that pulls up and is about to shoot Chucky, and that's when Chucky said, go ahead. I'ma always come back, but dying is a bitch. And he ends up dying next to his former self. The detective that finds them tells Jesse and Jade to go home, and he ends up putting a call into the police station that says that Jesse and Jade didn't do this and they need forensics to come there now for a barbecued Tiffany and a shot up Chucky. The police officer is sitting there poking Tiffany to make sure that she's dead, and I'm like, okay, one poke was enough, but you're literally continuing to poke her and you're trying to squeeze her boob. Like, you're a creep. Tiffany ain't dead. She wakes up screaming and she really looks like a burnt hot dog on a grill, but she ends up giving birth to an ugly ass baby doll, and that's where we meet Shitface. And if you didn't know, his name is Glenn, but his name is Shitface. You'll learn more in The Seed of Chucky. Let me know down below if you want me to go ahead and go over The Seed of Chucky, what other horror movies you would like for me to do during spooky season. It's your girl, Letty, and we'll be back quicker than you can say abracadabra.